Hey everyone, Strangers103 here today with some record-breaking Hindenburg... I can't even... We're off to a good start already. Hindenburg gameplay. This is, well... You have to get the gameplay. There we go. OK Fleet playing the Hindenburg on Sea of Fortune Northbourne. Reasonably heavy tier 10 game. We can see 3 tier 10 battleships, 2 tier 10 cruisers, and a tier 10 destroyer per team. Somehow, it's almost an exactly balanced game. Conqueror, Double Kurfurst, Minotaur, Hindenburg, and the only difference at tier 10 is Shima gearing, so they have a little bit of a better fighting force on their destroyer end here. In the tier 9 cruiser, tier 9 department, we get the Missouri and Lion. They get the Iowa and Missouri. So we get a bit more HE spam with the Lion. But both teams get a radar battleship. We get a Baltimore, they get a Neptune. So, I mean, obviously the Neptune could potentially have radar, although it's usually not recommended. They get a Dmitry Donskoy, we get a Dmitry Donskoy, we get an Ibuki, they get a Prince Eugen. So we have a cruiser advantage there. But they make up for it with a Yugumo over our Z-23 in tiers, but Z-23 is certainly not a bad ship. It still gets smoke hydro combination, so you can always go in and try to Anschluss some enemy destroyers, which definitely could be incredibly useful on this map, especially with only 2 destroyers per team, so it's all about keeping destroyers alive. So let's get on with this match. I'm not going to spoil you anything too much yet. I mean, I pretty much already told you something great's going to happen, right? This is some pretty serious stuff we're going to see here. As that Hindenburg takes an interesting blind shot. It was almost perfectly led on us. It just happened to be a bit short, but we're now spotted. We've gotten ourselves close to A. We're lining up a shot for the Kurfurst. Yugumo was just barely spotted in the corner of our eye, but before we get too far into this replay, just wanted to say I have watched this quite a few times. Really didn't know how to commentate on this and what to say, and I guess while it's not actually explicitly implied with the email, I bet you there's a question you might want my view on, which I guess is why you sent it in to me. So yeah. But we'll get to that later. Anyway, Kurfurst did damage control party the first fire. We pasted another one on him. So this one is permanent. We have scout plane. We have a range upgrade, which in the email, OK Fleet mentioned that he normally doesn't run. This is his clan battle spec, which definitely makes a lot of sense. Although scout plane I personally would be running myself. I don't know if that's the same for you as well. Thing about the scout plane is it flies, further away from you, which means it has a potential to spot targets further away from you. But it's not like the Zao, though, where you kind of get the ability to camo scout with the scout plane, where all tier 10 targets are theoretically spottable by the plane, the scout plane, before they're actually spottable by use surface. Anyways, Yugumo gets spotted again, sending a few more shells that way. Definitely a good decision there. Some of the other stuff gets spotted. A lot of their forces on the eastern side of the map. However, team-wise, we've got a little bit of a problem. These guys, instead of just trying to deal with the western flank, are now starting to deploy towards the middle, which in general is just not a good play. Taking a quick shot at the Dmitry Donskoy. Maybe we can... nothing too good out of that. Trying to shoot over the island with our scout plane. We get one more salvo with the plane before it expires, so no reason not to try to take advantage of that. And there you go, that's the last salvo we get with our plane. Deploying towards the east to try to prop up that flank would be a pretty decent idea, though Conqueror is there. Didn't actually have a look at the divisions. Let's have a look at that as we actually pick up a citadel on, I believe that was the Prince Eugen. In terms of divisions, their B division is Conqueror Iowa. We take another shot over there. We do get a battleship division of our own. We get Kurfurst and Lion. So that's, basically the failed divisions. Ours gets a Dmitry Donskoy on top. I don't think the opponent battleship division actually gets anything extra. And now the Yugumo gets spotted. It's incredibly important just to shoot that up. AP is what we've got loading up in the barrel as someone actually gets a deflection off that, so there's no time to swap into AG. You never know when it's going to vanish, and chances are it's going to be rather soon. So if we had swapped into AG, as you can see, there may not have been enough time to get a good shot off, so just sending what's in the barrel is important. Anyways, Conquelul also no objections, no holding back, load the HE on him and just try to hit him down, because there you go, if he's angled, our AP isn't going to do too great. However, now we're faced with actually a bit of an interesting decision. Because we don't have actually control of any side of the map. We've lost our Z-23. They've lost the Yugimo, so it's Tier 10 Destroyer on Tier 10 Destroyer, which is fair. But now we're kind of heading away. And this is... Naturally, if this was, a clan battle or competitive situation, the absolute right choice is to move up here. But in randoms, you don't know how much support you can actually count on. And we don't actually have control over any side of the map individually. So the issue here is, well, you have to at least have control over one flank to have any reasonable chance of winning that's beyond an enemy throwing. And we don't have any. They've got stuff pushing through, although the Conqueror appears to be rather willing to advance in the opposite direction, maybe not too happy about being shot at too much, and another damage control party up there from him. He's trying to conceal himself, and we don't actually have a plane to be able to spot him. Inbound Iowa shells, we're sitting here broadside, so I'm pretty sure the Conqueror, you can see the front guns are tracking, so it definitely is time to start breaking away. Get another lasting fire, but it's a Conquelul, he can always just, replace his ship, and the fire damage is just gone. He has a reasonable salvo against us, nothing too great. We didn't get the shift exim, so this salvo is unlikely to find a target. But now, they have two battleships over here. They've got a couple of cruisers and a third one pulling up. They've got a battleship there and a battleship there. Most of our team is kind of now over here, except for this Grosser Kurfurst, who seems to be coming along to make something happen on this side, I guess. He didn't bring his Lion division mate, which seems a little bit awkward. But one of the potential things we could have done is just try to get ourselves up into this kind of an area, because it's just an awkward position for the enemy team, as we do have gearing torpedoes inbound. Might be an idea to evade them, and we can easily do so by just slipping in through the third gap. 5 top launcher gaps aren't as bad as 4 top launcher gaps, but it's still big enough. I mean, at this kind of a range, there's no problem whatsoever for us to evade that. Keeping the pressure up on the Conquelul is certainly fine. We could also try to keep the pressure up on the Dimitri Donskar, who actually appears to be pushing. We can see the Conqueror's current path appears to be away from combat, so probably shooting at the Dimitri Donskar rather soon is going to be a lot more worthwhile. Although, just putting a pressure on the Conquelul can be useful just to get him out of the game for a while, as we get another fire on him, which is certainly quite nice, because I don't believe he actually has a damage control party available at this moment. Although it's not going to kill him, but, damage is damage, right? But now we're basically getting back into the blob with the remainder of our team, as our fire breaks the 100,000 damage mark. The issue with this kind of a play is that you don't have control, you don't have force multiplier, your team's going to bleed, and in this situation we are already down on ships, so we've already bled, and we're going to continue bleeding simply due to the fact that we don't actually have the ability to get back into this. We don't have the force multiplier, and as we're shooting AP at the minute, let's have a look at the team health. Full HP. It's a Conqueror, so it doesn't really matter. Dying or having a bad time. Full HP, but nowhere near the battle. Full HP, but it's a Nibuki. Line is full HP, but pushing into a lot of stuff. So, the issue here is we currently don't have a lot of health to play with. We're down to 3 battleships. They have 5. We're taking heavy fire over here, so in general, the situation is not looking too good. And it's not actually going to get better. Let's just make this clear. The way we're doing, moving right now with the team, with everything being kind of tied in here, the current status quo, if you want, of enemy team has about 85% of all advantages, is realistically not going to change much. And at this point already, with the way we've moved, I'd say our chances of winning are down to around about 1 or 2%. Our chances of winning this match are almost purely down to the enemy team throwing it away. Because they have the advantages, they have the positions, they've got the health, they've got the battleships, and we can see full HP Missouri over there, and I think they've got the enemy's Grosser Kurfurst pushing up the western flank is also rather healthy. Anyways, we've managed to bleed ourselves into using our first heal. Enemy team on the eastern flank, their push is kind of bogged down, and this is this is what I mean with trying to take up a position like that. We could be, potentially keeping stuff spotted. We could definitely be being a bit of a pressure on them. The enemy Kurfürst is moving up, and of course, if they do push up, we can start just heading in this way. Granted, perhaps the result we had this match, without trying to spoil it, but perhaps the result we would have had this match would not have been as spectacular as we're about to see. But I still, that would potentially give us a slightly higher chance to win, because at least that means that we can try to prop up that flank and stop the force multiplier from coming in, and try to counter their force multiplier by applying our own. So you can see their push is kind of already bogged down. At the moment, looks like the Kurfürst line group is coming through, but this Grosser Kurfürst is up there, which could potentially become awkward rather soon, and the Ibuki probably has already found out about that, because he's now in a almost complete 90-degree crossfire. I mean, the angle is a little bit more open, so this guy can kind of angle like this, and theoretically angle against both to some extent. But as you can see, the Ibuki is not having a good time. We've triggered our hydroacoustic surge just to catch incoming torpedoes. And there you go. The gearing rams into the island. It's really difficult to tell. There's nothing to say about that salvo. And he's still spotted because he was opening fire. And he doesn't appear to have a smoke screen, so chances are we're going to pick up the kill here. Except the Grosser Kurfürst, in fact, does it. Our Dmitry Donskoy is going for a complete rush down on the Missouri, and the gearing actually torps his own Grosser Kurfürst. But here's the deal: we're in basically the same crossfire that the Ibuki had. So we're basically hoping that that Dmitry Donskoy needs to kill the Missouri, and we actually get incredibly lucky, because that was a pretty healthy Missouri. Let's just have a quick look over there. He hit 4 out of 5. So now we can actually angle against the Grosser Kurfürst, and he didn't do too much damage to us. But we need to angle against this Grosser Kurfürst. We need to get rid of this Grosser Kurfürst as well. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a damage control party due to allied torpedoes. We're not actually going to be able to get this cap, but we can't really afford to not lock it down either, because someone kind of needs this. Now we're actually getting shot in the front as well by the Dmitry Donskoy on the enemy team, which is going to be even more awkward for our already awkward situation. Kurfürst is obviously trying to swing the guns around, but we kind of need what we need to do is to try to get ourselves a little bit forwards here so we can, engage the Grosser Kurfürst and continue to engage the Grosser Kurfürst without getting ourselves in this awkward bow-on situation, which is going to be even more awkward, while also applying pressure to the enemy's Grosser Kurfürst as we've gone past the 200,000 damage mark now, farming down quite a lot of good battleship damage here. Having a look at the scores, though, we've actually pulled back battleship-wise a little bit. We've killed one of their battleships, the enemy Missouri, at the cost of a Dmitry Donskoy. And let's have a look at the rest of the health bars while we're here. Our Grosser Kurfürst kills their Grosser Kurfürst, but we're not capping A at all. They're now capping B. This guy's still healthy enough. This guy's full HP. The rest of the team doesn't really matter. What matters are the battleships. We killed that, so it's Conquelul, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's used 2, perhaps 3 heals now, but he's still rather healthy. Iowa was half HP, and the Grosser Kurfürst over there is basically full HP, so we're going to have a really, really awkward situation. This guy's full HP, but doesn't exist, so we've got almost, a dying lion, although he may have a heal up. Hopefully he's going to need a heal up, because he's currently pushing towards, well, he's actually reversing, which is even more awkward. And this guy's, around about half HP. So we have 2 battleships, they have 3. Now, in a bow-on-bow situation, well, you don't want to be here. Let's just make this absolutely clear. You don't want to be in a bow-on-bow situation around an island like this, because you do not have the ability to push through. The enemy team has no need to push through. They can just move their stuff around the back end of us, box us in. This can, this goes up, this goes down, lion goes to the bottom, and they just need to envelop us instead of trying to take this weird bow-on-bow trade. Using our torpedo to see if the Hindenburg is in fact pushing through, but we are obviously air spotted. And as this is a clan battle spec, chances are we don't have more than 5 kilometer range on our 5.5 centimeter cannon. Having a decent broadside at the Hindenburg, actually. Slight overlead, but a very good shot overall. This is likely just to go into the island. Yeah, there we go. The island absorbs all of that. And now it's time to load into AG if you want to continue to deal decent damage to him. And also time to trigger the heal. And there we go. Using a Hydro as well, we can easily spot the enemy team if they're trying to push through. And I personally would be using taking the chance here to just try to reverse ourselves out of this, or to try to make our own flank around with the Grosser Kurfürst, who really needs to get this cap. No, never mind. He gets reset. So chances are we're kind of bollocks at this point. It's really unfortunate that he actually got reset. So yeah, not much you can do about that. It's just the way the game works. However, we don't have any form of points income here. You know, the only way we're going to get points is by killing the enemy team. We could potentially have reversed all the way around and then, you know, started moving out again, because it seems like the enemy team might actually be interested in just sitting here and locking through. The other option, of course, is to try to push through. However, 2 enemy ships with their torpedoes could be an issue. Correction, 1 enemy ship. If the Conqueror wants to push through, well, I mean, fair play to him, and if we want to do anything about this now, it's too late for us to do anything else. We should have been trying to accelerate, because the Conqueror is, you know, in combat with the Kurfürst, and he actually kills the Grosser Kurfurst, which is awkward. He knows we're here because he has acquisition upgrade, we can see over there. But now it's too late to try to do anything about it. With the way we were parked, we actually have no option but to head-on push into him. Oops, so I was in free cam there. We need to make sure we completely bow onto him, and this is a very good angle, because he can't lull pen the 40mm lower plating unless we turn it towards him, so he actually gets some penetration damage there. Only launching 1 torpedo tube, which is certainly fair play there, but we are overturning. We're way overturning here, really, and Conqueror doesn't take the 4th one, but he dies now, and we're now aiming our torpedoes against the enemy Hindenburg, who actually screws his salvo up. We need to now target his main gun turrets just to stop the amount, well, reduce the amount of damage we take off him. 1 torpedo plus a couple of shells should be able to finish the guy off, and there we go. He's down to low HP already. Only 1 gun. Again, the enemy Hindenburg doesn't seem to get a good salvo against us, which is an incredibly important spot of luck here, because it gives us a potential chance, 0.5%, mind you, try to get back into this, but we're out of heals, we're out of health. 15k, that's it, nothing more. We're not getting anything back, and we have an Iowa in our face, so now is the time to reverse an angle and really just hope for the best. Thankfully, Iowa screws us up the shot up. Well, Desperation could have screwed him over, but those 2 planes are still going to be keeping us spotted. We have no hydro, we have no plane. We don't know when the enemy team is coming in, we've got no clue. But I think Prince Eugen was down to really, really low. So now, 900 points on the enemy team, we're up to 300,000 damage. Now our torpedo tubes are all coming online in a few seconds. Still taking secondary fire, so we're just trying to back ourselves out of this. Iowa reveals the exact location. Oh, Prince Eugen down to 10k, obviously we can kind of kill that sometime soon. But there we go, now he's down to the low HP. That is 3 overpens with AP to kill. 2 non-saturated HE penetrations to kill. So personally, if you want to push him, well, I mean, if we have no better time to push him. We've got 2 minutes left of the game. We have a full HP Kurfürst coming down on us. That Conqueror's probably not going to get the cap. We heard the guns go off, so he's about to probably get a good blatting by Conqueror. There you go, inbound shells, and didn't actually do too much. But, you know, it reset, so no points income for us. Now, we could potentially torp off to our port, and that looks like it's exactly what we're going to do. There's no reason, in my opinion, there. We should have dumped all of those torpedoes. I'll get to that shortly, and we should be loading into HE here, because we know Prince Eugen is low HP, and it's improbable we can citadel the Iowa. And, well, the first shot was absolutely horrible. The second shot actually gives us a hit. I'm pretty sure that was the camera angles of the island messing that up. Time to use hydroacoustic search, not like it really matters. We can now at least hydro the Iowa's torpedoes, I guess. And there we go. 4 torpedo hits on the enemy Kurfürst. Don't make the same mistake we made earlier. We're overturning. The rudder is not going to be able to shift back again. We do not have the points to lose. 960 points if we go down. The game instantly ends, no matter how much damage we get against this Iowa. We're kiting around the front turrets, but we're still way over angled over here. Potentially just not thinking about it in the end. 16k damage. I think that was off the torpedoes and some, I'm actually not sure, but the enemy Iowa gets the shot in the end, and it would not have mattered. The enemy Kurfürst still had a lot of health, although of course that could have been changed drastically if we had launched the second salvo. And well, here's the thing, even if we'd killed the Kurfürst with our torpedoes and the Conqueror could have killed him, the Iowa kills us, we still lose, because, well, we're not getting A. 2 minutes left in the game, we'd have to make up the points because the Iowa can just rapidly advance in the opposite direction and just draw it out. Granted, Conqueror has better concealment, well, It was a Conqueror. The Conqueror has better concealment than the Iowa, but the Iowa is a faster ship. It can just rapidly advance in the opposite direction, and there's going to be no problem with the Conqueror whatsoever. Conqueror doesn't get a plane. He's got no real way of spotting out the Iowa. So, if we'd launched all of our torpedoes, and this is basically the 0.5% chance to win there, and the 0.5%/1% chance to win that I mentioned earlier really is, how can I put it, down to an enemy throw. The enemy were trying their best to throw. The Grosser Kurfurst, correct move, flanking around, but the Conqueror, Hindenburg, and Dimitri Donskoy sitting in the gap, the silly man's gap, as I guess we can call it, just not the right thing to do. They should have flanked around, and it would have been a solid GG. Nothing we could have done about this. If we'd launched both our torpedoes against the Grosser Kurfurst, maybe he actually would have gone down to the Conqueror in the end. But again, that would have taken a bit more time. Most likely, I didn't actually check the Grosser Kurfurst's health, but what's the chance of Conqueror? What's the chance he's going to do any decent amount of damage to him? So it really would have been up to our torpedoes. Bit of an unfortunate situation that we didn't get to launch both of our port side launches against them unless they got critted without me noticing, but they didn't. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure we saw the green marker and that they were in fact ready to go. So very unfortunate that we didn't get that off. But even again, if we killed them, if we died ourselves, the game would have been over. So that would have all been about trying to angle in. But then if we'd angled in, the wreck of the Prince Eugen could potentially have prevented us from getting the perfect torpedo salvo off against the Iowa. But again, the torpedoes aren't really what's going to kill the Iowa in that situation, purely because of the fact that the Prince Eugen's wreckage was blocking our ability to torp, unless we try to torp past the Prince Eugen's wreckage, but that'd be really risky, and we would have had to react and launch them earlier. So, in this end situation, we were basically forced into a situation where we had to take a bow-on-bow torpedo trade, as awkward as it was, and it actually paid off a lot for our damage. We almost made 400,000 damage this game. This could so easily have been a 400,000 damage game. Very well handled overall. So I'm sure, while you didn't explicitly ask this question in the email, I guess I'm just going to answer it. Could we have won this? Well, I still stand by my original statement. The moment we abandoned the eastern flank and didn't go kiting up far into the north, I say our chances of winning went from around about 5% down to 1%. So the question here really is, would you be more willing to take a 5% chance to win over 1% chance to win? In my opinion, of course, like these percentages they're not based on any mathematical formula. They're kind of just based on my own experiences, but I'd say you have a higher chance of winning if you can at least lock down a flank. But in the end, it really is down to your team's battleships making the play on the western side, which they never made in the beginning, and that is what reduced the chance to win to single-digit numbers, in my opinion. And that, of course, is well beyond our control. There is nothing we can do about that. But that is really the thing. It is all about keeping at least one flank under control, and we saw that even with the heavy throwing of the enemy team at the end there, we still did not get a chance to win this. Even with all the throwing, because the Iowa killed us in the end, and even if we'd killed him as a trade, well, the Conqueror still has to kill the enemy's Grosser Kurfurst, which of course could have been a possibility, but chances are we're just going to end up dying, and the Iowa still had a lot of health, so he could have just, swiveled the main guns over, because he probably realized that the Prince Eugen's wreck would, pretty much prevent any decent torpedo salvo from being launched in full. So if the Iowa just maintained power instead of trying to turn, he probably would have been completely safe from our torpedoes, in fact. So yeah, the end decision there. Well, we did two things with our overturning with the Hindenburg. It doesn't have the best rudder shift, doesn't have the best low speed maneuverability in the world. That is something to keep in mind with the vessel there. If we had bled, well, a little bit less to the enemy Hindenburg, we gave him a few really good salvos that he didn't actually punish us for, so definitely a spot of luck that allowed us to continue into this late game of the match, where we potentially really should have, honestly, been punished for with the Hindenburg's guns, more than capable of doing that, but I think he just shot too far up our bow and not far enough towards our citadel sector. But if we'd managed to keep that health and not get ourselves beached on the island, well, on the way into the gap, maybe we would have had a little bit more health to tank the enemy's Iowa for. Maybe if we shot at the Prince Eugen, we could have had an extra salvo against the Iowa, which might have helped us kill him down if we do, in fact, get the torpedoes off. We do survive his return salvo to stop him from getting his 1 and 2 guns swiveled against us, which is likely what he would have been attempting to do at that point, except the game ended. So, but these are all still just, additional bonus damage things to do at the end of the game. Would have likely breached us over the 400,000 damage mark, but not really necessarily games that are going to give you higher chances of winning. But in these kind of situations, obviously the right move to make is to take the thing that gives you at least a chance to win instead of trying to give you, trying to move your way around in this kind of weird tactical or strategic fashion that we don't have time for because, well, we never had a single cap throughout the entire game, basically. The B cap we held for like 1 minute, and then the enemy team killed off the 2 ships, massively negating the points income that B would have potentially given in any way, shape, or form. They took it back, they locked it down. At that point, if you're thinking about it from a overall situation, one guy capping B, preferably a battleship or something that has hydro torpedoes such as the Hindenburg, Dimitri Donskoy can do it, but his armor layout isn't really good for close quarters combat. Prince Eugen could have done it as well, but the rest of the team should be moving along where the enemy's Grosser Kurfurst came along, granted way too late, and he was out of the battle for most of this match, but still, in the end, his health bar did play an important role. So let's have a look at the post-battle result screens now. I'm done talking about that. Almost 400,000 damage. Almost. Second torpedo salvo on the Kurfürst would have easily secured that. 312 main battery AP hits, 2 citadels on top, 3 planes shot down. These are float planes, scouts and fighters and whatnot that we killed around B. Wouldn't really, having a spec here wouldn't really help. We still would have been spotted. They still wouldn't know what we're up to, so it wouldn't really change anything. Maybe the Grosser Kurfürst would not have actually been shot. We would have gotten a cap, but it still wouldn't really have mattered because it was still locked down and the points income would still on the enemy team be ticking up at about the same rate at which it did, so it's unlikely that we would have actually been able to secure a win out of that, just out of, actually being able to cap A. High Caller, obviously. We also get the Confederate and obviously the Witherer as well for 11 fires, most of which actually stuck. 4 kills on top of that with 10 torpedo hits, which is an incredibly high number for even a destroyer. Now do that in a cruiser while also getting a lot of damage and actually living through the majority of the game. Granted, most of those torpedoes launched were Desperation last-minute torpedoes, they certainly still had an impact. And while the game may look quite close, and it really actually was, the chances of that actually have been a victory were still so incredibly low due to the team's overall inability to secure the caps and to secure the map. So again, this is really just a situation where map control just matters over so much more. And map control doesn't necessarily just mean capture point control. In this case, it certainly was an incredibly important part of it, but the enemy teams took the actual physical real estate of the map and turned it against our team, which meant that we just couldn't get back into it. So see, team scores, we actually get more base XP than the top enemy player on the winning team, but yeah, you can actually see the scores here aren't that major difference, although, you don't know the exact numbers behind it, because they're kind of blurred out by this box over here somehow, which is a bit annoying. I guess it's to make it less visible and easier to read the box if it's hovering over any other things, so fair share there. We actually have a lot of people with decent amounts of XP, considering the fact that they're on the losing team, but, Kurfürst at the bottom is minorly awkward. It really just showcases the importance of battleship. Like, this is the enemy Kurfürst that was out of the game for the entirety of the match. And when I say the entirety of the match, he was out of the game for the entirety of it. He only actually got into the game at the very end when he pushed down our Conquelul. Conquelul was out of the match for the most part of it as well, although he did get some decent damage in at the end that did actually allow us to push. If he hadn't done the damage to the enemy's Prince Eugen, we could potentially just been torped by that to death on the way in, so we wouldn't have even had a chance to win this in the first place. But again, horrible positioning by the enemy's, I don't even know where he is, the enemy's Prince Eugen, probably this guy over here. So, just mentioning that. But 2.5k base XP is a sick result to have on a defeat like that. That is absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, no detailed report screen. I actually would have loved to see that, but I don't actually believe that it was sent to me, which is been unfortunate. I would have loved to see that, but 1.4 million credits. I guess yeah, we can see some. You can't even tell from the rest, and it's not really that important. But that is still a very, very good number. Like, look at that. Wyvern, Gamescom camo for the additional Zulu. So I'm guessing this was some kind of a clan wars credits farming build, and that. Just imagine what this number would have been on a victory. What a game that would have been. But again, just to wrap up, if we'd gone to the eastern side of the map and kited the enemy force, potentially we could have. Well, it's unlikely we would have done as much damage as this. We probably would have ended up around 200 to 250,000 damage before expiring at the end of the game through enemy focus fire. Although we could potentially still have had the chance for such an incredible match like this. Although that would have, moving up to that side of the map and holding that side of the map probably, maybe, potentially could have given us a slightly higher or slightly less worse chance, if you want, of winning this. Because our chances of winning this were, let's be completely fair, 5 minutes into the game, already becoming apparent that we were not going to have a good time. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this rather critical replay analysis of an incredibly good game. This is 398,000 damage in a tier 10, well, just any old tier 10 ship. I think my highest is like 370 in a midway, and that's farming battleships with it, mind you. So being able to pull off that result in a cruiser is incredibly impressive, and I believe this is actually the damage record for the Hindenburg on EU server. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Unlike most other YouTubers out there, I try not to focus on too much overly on the actual gameplay and what happened. I try to focus on the more strategic things, on the more critical replay analysis things. That's why I call it the replay analysis service over just doing replay casts. Hope you found it useful. While I know that you didn't ask for the the chance to win analysis stuff, I figured I might as well give it on top. I'm sure that you have been asking yourself that in the end, could you potentially have won it? So, well, here's my answer to it. Hope you guys enjoyed this replay cast. Subscribe for more, give me a like, comment down in the comment section below. Take care, and I will catch you guys, hopefully for some less heartbreaking defeats like this in the future. Take care, bye.